Thanks, guys, for joining me again. So same lesson format as always. It's going to be a lot more interaction on this one. Some lessons lend themselves well to chatting and interaction. Some of them I feel like I'm just kind of talking at you. This one lends itself really nicely to interaction. We've got loads of polls I hope you join in on. Put your hand up, speak out, raise your little emoji hand if you want. That would be lovely to hear from you as well. I'll try and keep an eye on my chat box, but it disappears, but I'll try and keep an eye on it. So let's go with Unit 4 Grammar. In this lesson, we will be studying Unit 4.4 Grammar. The previous lessons in this unit, 4.1, 4.2 and 4.3 were covered in the last session, Lesson 5, which can be found now in your Cloudport forum. Speaking of which, your Cloudport forum and your Cloudport general, I thought it would be useful at this point to show you some features of your course on Cloudport that you may or may not be aware of, but that many people seem to ask us about. And you might find it useful if we clarify it a bit here. So this is a screenshot of what it looks like when you log into your course information. I've taken this from mine, so it says my name up at the top, but yours should look just like this. If we scroll down a tiny bit, just before we get to the first unit, this is what we get. I've taken a screenshot of it here. Yours should look pretty much just like this. So this is underneath what we just saw there and before you get to the Unit 1 section. So up here, if you notice, it says contact your English tutor. That is the tutor that you have as part of your course. If you have any trouble with the course, if you have any trouble with the activities, any of your lessons, contact your English tutor there. It sends a message directly to them. They'll be in contact whenever they can. You can message them 24 hours a day. They won't reply 24 hours a day, but you can message them whenever it suits you. That is free. It's a completely free service. You pay for it with your course. That is your tutor. It is not me. It's somebody else, but they're the person that also mark this course. They mark the TMA that you submit. So they're a really good person to go to. That is your first port of call. Here we have CloudLearn Live. I know you've also heard us talking about tutoring and live tutoring, one-on-one tutoring. This is a different service. I think this is probably where the mix-ups come in. So this is CloudLearn Live. This is individual one-on-one tutoring. I am that tutor. I am one of this many, many tutors. And they have this for all of the subjects. If you're on other subjects, you will have seen this too. This is how I know Rodri, because me and Rodri tutor here. This is an extra service. This is not included with what you get already. This is another paid for service and completely optional. If you feel you could use some one-on-one help, this is here, but this is not the tutor that you contact if you are struggling. Down here, we have activity solutions. When you are working your way through the course, you've seen at the end of the units, there's activities. At the end of the lessons, there's activities, and you are asked to maybe do a bit of writing or which of these is the right answer. This is where the answers are. They're in activity solutions, so you can check yourself. You don't have to keep moving through the course, not knowing whether you're getting them right or wrong. They are right here for you to see. And the general forum. You've probably heard us talking about the forum. It's on the forum. If you've got a question, ask the forum. And these videos are on the forum too. This is how to find the forum. I know it's a bit difficult sometimes. People have struggled finding the forum. It's down here buried at the bottom. This is where these videos go. You can watch them again anytime you need to. If you have a question, you can contact your English tutor or you can write it in the forum, and it's a really good place for people to answer each other's questions, give advice if you've passed a bit and you found it easy, give some advice to somebody who hasn't. It's not very active at the minute on that forum, but we're hoping it will be. And then if someone's got a question in the future, they can just search the forum and they won't need to ask anybody again. They can just search back questions. We're going to change this. It's not going to look like this for much longer. It is going to be changed. We are aware that there are issues with this front facing bit. But for now, this is what it looks like. This is where you find your information. I hope that was useful. But please do use the forum. It's a really good tool. It's not very active at the minute, but I'm sure we can make it. Nouns. So nouns are probably something you remember from school. This word is probably familiar, but you can't remember exactly what it refers to. Or maybe you've been following these lessons and doing your own coursework and you know exactly what a noun is. Well done. Put simply, a noun is a naming word. It's the name of a person, a place, an object, or a thing, basically. There are 5 different types of noun, and we're going to go over them all now. So first of all, common nouns. Common nouns are a general name for a thing, a person, a place, or an animal. These examples here are all common nouns. Dog, restaurant, city, road. They are the names of specific things, so they are nouns, but they don't fit into any other categories, so they're simply common nouns. You might remember we've said before, if it doesn't fit into any other categories, something might fit into more than one category, you've got to find the one it fits the best, and these don't fit any of the other categories, so they are just common nouns. Proper nouns, these are arguably the easiest to spot as they begin with capital letters. These are the names given to particular places, people, or things. Your names are all proper nouns, as are the names of the towns you live in. That's why they have capital letters. So let's look at the previous examples now of dog, restaurant, city, and road and make those more specific. So the dog's name is Benji. The restaurant is called Marco's. The city is Paris and the road is Dale Road. Can you see now that these all have capital letters as they have become specific people, places, and names? So if it has a capital letter, it's a proper noun. And if it's the name of a specific thing, then it should have a capital letter. Going back to common nouns now, these can be split further into two other categories. The first one of these is concrete nouns. These are things we can experience with our five senses, things that we can touch, hear, smell, and see, things that are concrete, if you will. They actually exist, we can sense them. Examples of these include apple, chair, music, mountain, and incense. So all of these words are concrete nouns and common nouns. Concrete nouns are common nouns that you can sense. Concrete nouns are a type of common noun. The other type of common nouns are abstract nouns. And as this name suggests, they are abstract. We cannot see or touch them. They are less easily defined. These are ideas, qualities, or feelings. You cannot experience these with your senses, and they are hard to quantify. Examples of these include love, hate, honor, courage, and justice. These are abstract nouns and common nouns. Abstract nouns are common nouns that you cannot sense. So collective nouns. These are the names given to a group of things, whether that is people, animals, or objects. The clue here is the word collective, as you're talking about a collection of things. It's a way of talking of many separate things, a plural, as one entity, a singular. So many watchers become an audience, many sheep become a flock, lots of people become a family, lots of children are a class. The collective noun turns lots of things into a singular and groups them all together. There are lots of fun collective nouns too. This is my favorite type of noun, and we'll come on to that a little bit sooner. So pronouns. A pronoun is a word that is used to replace a noun. For example, if Fred and Sally met and were having a conversation, we would say he said this and she said that. To just keep repeating their names over and over would be really clunky and repetitive. Fred said this, Sally said this, Fred said this. That's not how it sits and that's not how we speak normally. We would use a pronoun. Pronouns are a hot topic at the minute. This one should be easy to remember. We all know our pronouns. For example, my pronouns are she and her. Yours might be he, him, or they and their. So a pronoun is easy to remember because it's a hot topic. What are your pronouns? You can remember that one easily. You know your own, and then you will then think about the others. So let's go back. Yeah, go on, Rodri, go ahead.
Quick question. You know, when you're describing someone, though, if you put a full stop, would you not, you wouldn't use the pronoun as much after a full stop, would you? In some respects,
it depends. So say you're talking about an interaction with one man and one woman, it doesn't matter how many full stops you put, you can keep saying she said this, she went there, because you know there is only one person it can be referring to. Whereas if you're talking about two men and a woman, you couldn't keep saying he because you would have no idea who it was. So and also you can't keep using pronouns. You have to throw the name back in there sometimes because it just looks, again, that looks really clunky. So good point, Rodri, well made. Yes, we have to use pronouns as opposed to the names all the time, but you can't just use a pronoun. You would have to mix it up a little bit.
All right,
so just use whatever feels natural. You'll be able
I just wonder, because a lot of the time I haven't been using pronouns after full stops because of, obviously, you know, so they know who you're talking about, like you said. But I suppose
if it makes sense to still use he and she, you absolutely can. This is where what I said last time comes in really useful. When I said the more you read, the more it will sink in. This is where that comes in useful, because you will read so much, and books obviously talk about he said this, she said that, and every now and again they'll throw a name in, especially if there's more than two people talking. So something like that will just sink in. You'll be able to see if it looks unnatural.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Sometimes certain writers will use that though. as a device.
Mark, yes, you're right. So I really struggle with books like this. I don't know if any of you have read Wolf Hall and those sorts of books. What's the other one? Bring Up the Bodies. She doesn't use names. She keeps saying he all the time. And I have no idea who she's talking about. So I find books like that really difficult. There's other books as well where they won't use names at all. They'll just use pronouns all the way through. Or they won't use pronouns. They'll just use names proper nouns all the way through. Very confusing.
Certain crime writers I'm into will do that. They'll just keep calling someone by their surname or by
it's really difficult.
Some title.
I think sometimes authors try and sound clever, so don't try and sound clever.
I quite like it.
Go with what's normal. But do you? Oh, it irritates me, Mark. I can't cope. I like it normal. Right, thank you for your questions. Thank you both. It's very nice to hear from you. So collective nouns, let's go back to collective nouns. These are my favorite nouns. There are some really fun ones. Let's have a play with them here. So you all know the collective noun for certain animals, like a flock of sheep, a pack of dogs, a school of fish. Let's see which other ones you know. So, someone's in the chat. Sorry, we missed you. Fancy. Let's have a look at the polls then. So you can see which one we're going to ask here. We're looking for the collective noun for crows. Is it A, a brood, B, a murder, or C, a cast of crows? One of those is the collective noun for crows. Hopefully you can see your poll. We've got A, a brood, B, a murder, or C, a cast. One of those is the name for lots and lots of crows. I love this one. So it says there's 8 of you to participate today. Is that right? Yeah, 8 of me and yeah. Oh, 6 of you. Well done. Are we going to get everybody? 7 out of 8. Thank you very much for joining in, everybody. This is a fun one. I really like the collective nouns. This is pub quiz info. This is always good for a pub quiz, these ones. I'll end this poll and share it with you. That is really split. Well done, everybody, for joining in. So this answer is a murder of crows. So if you see a group of crows, they are called a murder of crows. I really like that one. I don't know why, because I'm macabre. Okay, let's try the next one. Rhinos. What do we call a collection of rhinos? Is it A, a crash of rhinos? Is it B, a pride of rhinos? Or C, a team of rhinos? Oh, they're coming in quick. Well done, everybody. It's split again. I love this. 7 of you, 8 of you. Well done. Let me share the results. So the majority of you thought it was a crash of rhinos, and it absolutely is. I love that. It's onomatopoeic in a way, isn't it? A crash of rhinos is exactly what you think they're going to be. Pride is lions. So yeah, I wonder if anyone heard pride and thought, yeah, I've heard that one before. Well done. Oh, sorry. Yeah, there's the answer, crash. And a collective noun for... Oh, sorry, yeah, I'm dreadful at this sharing. There we go, you've seen it. Collective noun for bats. Is it A, a pod of bats? Is it B, a flight of bats? Or C, a cauldron of bats? What are we going for with bats? That picture's terrifying to me, by the way. I would not like to be part of a pod or a flight or a cauldron of anything, especially bats. Like giant moths. 8 of you, well done, thank you very much. Let me share the results with you. And 5 out of 8 of you thought it was a cauldron of bats. It absolutely is. I really enjoy that one, a cauldron of bats. Thank you so much for joining in the poll. There's going to be lots of those. This is a really interactive lesson. It lends itself well. So more nouns now. We've taught you all the nouns. How well have we taught you the nouns? Robin sent a bat in the chat. That's really freaky.
Definitely. I love bats.
Do you? Do you know what? I like the idea of bats, but I'm terrified of moths. And so when I see bats, they're just like giant moths to me. Imagine a cauldron of moths. Right, so we're going to do a poll here with no, I need to change it to 4 options, A, B, C, D. We're going to work out which of these 4, A, B, C, or D, is a concrete noun. I know we've just been over this, but it was quite a lot to go over. So just give it your best shot. I can't see who answers what. I can't see names. I don't know who's answered what. There's no judging here. So concrete nouns we're looking for. A concrete noun. Is it A, a car, B, Spain, C, you, or D, look? Which one of those is a concrete noun? It's difficult. I know we've just been over those, but there was 5 different types of noun to remember. Remember, common nouns split into 2 types. They split into concrete and abstract. So you need to know the difference between those. 8 out of 8 of you have voted. And 5 of you said A. Well done. Yes, it is. It's a concrete noun because it's a thing, it's a name of a thing, and we can see it, we can touch it, we can drive it. So it's a concrete noun, a car. Well done. I'm going to relaunch it now for the second one, abstract noun. Which of these is an abstract noun? Is it A, car, B, Spain, C, you, or D, look? Which of those is abstract? Oh, 5 of you, 6 of you, 7 of you. One more. Can we get everyone? These are tricky, these ones. 8, well done. Very well done. 7 of you straight in for D. Abstract noun is look. Yep, you absolutely can't quantify it. You can't see it. You can't count it. You can't measure it. Yes, it is an abstract noun. Yeah, well done. Oh, you've all got the hands of this better than I thought. Did I share that result with you? There you go. Have a look. I will relaunch the poll. For C, a proper noun. Which of these is a proper noun? A, car, B, Spain, C, you, D, look. Oh, well done, everybody. 4 of you, 5 of you, 7 of you. And 8, well done. Let me share that one with you. Absolutely. Yes, a proper noun has a capital letter. Spain. I know all of these have a capital letter. I deliberately did that to fool you. But Spain should always have a capital letter. No matter where it comes in the sentence, Spain will always have a capital letter because it is a proper noun. It is the name of a specific place. Last one. There we go. A pronoun. Which of those is a pronoun? A, B, C, D. 5 of you, 6 of you, 7 of you, 8 of you. Well done. Everybody got that one right. Nice and easy. Pronoun you. Yeah, also a bit tricky because I've said he, her, she, they, them. You is also a pronoun. Me is a pronoun. Yeah, well done.
It's hard to remember them all, to be quite honest. That's why I kept reading through them, to be quite honest.
Yeah, revision is key for this one. Just seeing in the chat, Tabitha says, I love watching bats. Me too, from afar, but not up close. They really freak me out. It's like moths and stuff when they get a bit close. But yeah, they're very pretty, aren't they? I like the idea of bats. And no hate against bats here. Right, let me find out where I am now. Verbs. This is another word you might vaguely remember from school, and you may or may not remember that a verb is a doing word. It is an action. The noun is the subject of the sentence and the verb is the action describing what the noun is doing. For example, the dog is running, Jenny is driving, the ball bounced on the floor, Mr. Ross shouts at the pupils. You should notice here in these examples that the tense of the verb changes. Running is present tense. It's happening now. The dog is running. If it happened in the past, it would say the dog ran, but running and ran would both remain the verb. It's still the action. The action can be present, past, or future. That is where we come on to. Conjugating verbs. Just seeing someone else in the chat now. Oh, Tabitha, you like it when they go over the top of you. Oh, that's really cute. Have you been to the bat enclosures in the zoos? Have you ever been in the bat enclosures? I can't go in those. I can't bring myself to go in. Or the butterfly houses. No, can't cope with wings. Well done, Tabitha. You're very brave. So conjugating verbs, as we've just noted, verbs alter between the passive and active form or between tenses. Mr. Ross shouts at the pupils is written in an active voice, whereas the passive would read, the pupils are shouted at by Mr. Ross. The verb becomes shouted. As we saw last week with spelling, there are some basic rules to this, which we'll go over now, but there are also many exceptions. So let's look at the verb laugh. I laugh, you laugh, he, she laughs, we laugh, they laugh. It's only he and she which is any different. We put an S on the end of that one. So what about the verb walk? I walk, you walk, he, she walks, we walk, they walk. Again, it's just he, she is different. And that's true of many verbs, play, talk, skip, eat. But for some of them, this rule doesn't work. What about the word have? What does that become? Can anyone answer? Can you put it in the chat? You can speak out loud. You put your hand up. They live near your house. Tabitha, yeah, they live near my house too. I live next to the woods and we have bats coming near my washing in the summer. Don't like it when they fly at my washing. So who knows what happens to the verb have? I have. What about the other ways of saying this word? Does anyone know what this verb turns into? Yeah, John?
I had.
Had. Had, yeah, I had. And somebody says has, yeah, absolutely. So have becomes has, and had, yeah, it completely changes. It's not like walk where we just say I walk, you walk, and then add the S for he and she. Yeah, it is. It's completely different. I have, you have, he, she has, we have, they have. And yeah, the past tense would be had. Yeah, completely. What about this one? This one's really hard. Be. What does be become? I be, you be, was, yeah, was. That's the past tense of be, isn't it? Was, completely different. Been, yeah, been, but you wouldn't say I been. How would you say be? John,
Yeah.
go on.
I have been, B-E-E-N.
B-E-E-N, yeah, but that's the past tense as well. How would you say that I am be now? How would you say that? How would you say be in the current tense? You be, he be, they be. How would we say that one?
Mark's hand was raised.
Whose hand's raised? Sorry.
Mark's hand was raised.
Mark, go for it, Mark.
It's just I am, you are.
Am and are.
She is.
Yeah, am and are, he is, she is, absolutely. So
We
I
are,
am, you are, he, she is, we are, they are. Yeah, completely different. They're completely different words to be. You may not have even noticed that. It's a difficult one. So be is the verb, and when it conjugates, when it changes, it becomes different words. Yeah, go on, Mark. Go.
I was reading a thing. They reckon in about 80 to 100 years' time, that street slang that we have now is going to be standard English.
Absolutely, and that's
so
why
I be, you be.
Yeah, I be, you be. If you speak to an English teacher, they are not worried at all about street slang and about text speak.
I thought what you were saying was what goes before be. I don't know why, but
it can also be that. It can also be what you put before.
Because I put to be and I put to be, but you were talking about something else, and
yeah, to be or not to be. Yeah, no, it absolutely. As again, there isn't always one way, but yeah, the verb be changes in the present tense to I am, you are. Yes, Mark, as well. Yeah, absolutely. Language is changing all the time. I mean, look at Shakespearean language is completely different to how we speak now, and that is natural. That is the natural progression of words. So let's have a look at learning conjugating verbs. So I can say to you conjugating verbs, and I can say to you, what is the other tense? What is the other conjugating verbs for to be? And we're sitting there like, but actually we do know them. You know, you do know how to say I am in a sentence, and you wouldn't say I be. But who does say I be? For native speakers, when we learned conjugating verbs was probably when we were this age. And have you heard children say things like, I be a dinosaur? Like my little girl says all the time, she'll put a princess dress on and she'll say, I be a princess. I'm like, you are a princess. And kids say, we go to the park. Because kids know to make a verb a past tense, you just add ed. I walk to the park. Why would it not be we go to the park? I eated my dinner. I drinked my drink. I saw a movie. That's how children speak, because it takes until they're about 5 or 6 to learn that that's not how we say those verbs, that each verb has its own rule. That is the general rule. We add ed to the verb. It's not always the rule. So this is how you native speakers may have learned English. And I'm aware that there are some second English language people here, maybe even third or fourth English, and maybe foreign language speakers, maybe, I hope you can tell me, maybe you can put your hand up or say in the chat, whether you learned it in this way, like I learned French. So when I did French in school, we had these verb charts and we had to learn them just laboriously, like we've just done there with the to be. And I remember vividly having to do the j'ai, tu as, il a, elle a, nous avons, vous avez. That's how I learned my French nouns. And I remember thinking, this is really hard. I'm glad we don't do this for English, but we do. We just learn it naturally as native speakers. But this is how a lot of English second language speakers have to learn English. They have to just learn it the laborious way. Are there any second language English speakers here that learn English with a horrible table like that and learn the name of the vowel?
No, I think that English should learn another language from a young age.
Well, that's what I did with my French, Rodri. I was dreadful, but I tried.
I'm talking about like infants. You should like learn other languages because.
Oh, we do. I live in Wales, and we all speak 2 languages here. All my kids speak. All the kids here have to speak 2 languages at once, and that also means that
I know they do with Welsh in Wales, but I mean, I'm talking about like if you're in England, that you should do French from a young age, or Spanish.
I agree, Rodri. Tabitha, you're learning Korean. That's amazing. So do you have to do verb charts like this?
See, I got to jump in. Tabitha, I love that you're learning Korean. I just watch loads of Korean television, so stuff that I say would be weird phrases like "I love you," and that one.
Oh, that's nice.
사랑해. That's what I know.
Oh. So do you learn them laboriously like this? Like I learned French, Tabitha. Do you have to use the tables like this and learn the way that the verbs change, or is it easier or more difficult? Because I know Korean's a completely different alphabet, isn't it? It's really interesting to see the different ways. People that live in England had the advantage, I think, just learning it when they were little, when they didn't remember. But yeah, you use Duolingo. That's awesome. I love that. Yeah, so I use Duolingo for French, and it will sometimes give me the table like this, like je mange becomes tu mange with an S at the end, and it will give me the table of the way that verbs change. And yeah, it's interesting that for English, we didn't really have to do that, did we? But we did talk like this to our parents for a long, long time. My 6-year-old has only just stopped saying, I go to the park.
Who knows? Who out there? I'm throwing myself in, and I said I wouldn't. Who out there knows which languages most of English is made up from, like derived from?
You've got me there.
German.
I was going to say German, Mark.
Viking, French.
Yeah, I was going to say German. They're quite similar, aren't they?
Yeah, Germanic and Latin.
Latin, of course,
are the main ones. Definitely.
Operating the north of England, there's a lot of Viking influence.
There are in Scotland as well. So yeah, Roman is the Latin. That's right.
Roman.
In England and America, they'll argue what was first, the English or the American English.
No.
Yeah, no, we don't really. I'm telling you, as an American, that's not actually accurate. We don't. We know that English
is easier than others.
But weirdly, there are spellings that are now considered American, but were common in 19th century English writing, like using a U, what we talked about last week.
Yeah.
If you look at 19th century text, you'll find words like color don't have a U in them. But
I think the official spiel on the U is that, was it something to do with newspapers, and they tried to make it cheaper by taking the U out because it was less letters or something? Was that the original?
I'm not sure.
I think that's a myth as to why the U was removed. But I think you're right. But we had no set spelling in Shakespearean times. There was no set spellings, so people just wrote things how they thought it was pronounced. Shakespeare wrote the same word 100 different spellings sometimes.
I just thought I'd throw that in about the background to English, because
thank you.
What you're showing here in terms of like conjugation and structures is rooted in what we would call Romance languages. When you go to Germanic languages, it becomes very different. And then if you're going to like other languages, certainly Asian languages, like you just pointed out, it's actually not even just a completely different alphabet, but a completely different concept for how you construct words and ideas. And it's so fascinating to study different languages, because you realize that it actually shapes the way we think.
Yeah.
Because you conceptually structure your communication in a completely different way.
I agree.
So it is a very interesting thing. And I think Roger's brought up a great point about learning languages from an early age. And I love that so many people in here are doing that. And I'm going to stop talking now.
No, that's great. Thank you. I think I agree. I really find it interesting how we learn new languages. And I find it really interesting when I was doing this to see how native speakers did get it wrong loads and loads of times. We were just too little to remember it. Semsi has brought up the fact that Turkish language is easier than others. So if anyone wants to learn a language, there we go. Semsi says Turkish is nice and easy.
I think we're at a disadvantage in England because of it. Because everyone thinks because of that, they'll think, oh, English people don't want to learn other languages, and that's true. I think we're quite lazy.
I think we're quite lazy. We go to other countries and want to speak, but this hopefully will show people how difficult it is for them to have learned our language, so we should repay the favor. And I remember this French tortuously. So let's carry on. We've got a lot to cover in this one. Adjectives. Next we come on to adjectives. Again, probably one you remember from school. You may or may not remember what this is. Adjectives are describing words, and they describe a noun. So, I've gone too fast. These are the words that add definition and flair to your sentences, and they make it sound better. They level your sentences up. They push them up a little bit. Your adjective choice is very important, and this is usually the word that makes the biggest difference to the tone of your work. You may remember before we've talked about how to change the tone of your work when you can't use punctuation. The word choice is absolutely the way that you would change the tone, and adjectives do this the most. For example, we're talking about a woman. We're just talking about a woman. How do we describe the woman? Well, we would use different adjectives and they would completely change the way that we describe a woman. So we can describe a woman as a lovely, pretty, kind-looking woman. So that's 3 adjectives that we've used to talk about this woman. And we get an image in our head of a lovely, pretty, kind-looking woman. Or we could talk about a mean, gnarled, cruel-looking woman, which gives us a completely different image in our heads. It's a vastly different meaning portrayed by those adjectives. That's how important adjectives are. They completely change who we're seeing. The subject remains the same. It's still a woman. As with nouns, there are different types of adjectives, and here are 2. We have demonstrative adjectives or demonstrative adjectives. These refer the reader to the particular object being spoken about. For example, whose is this coat? What's making that noise? And I like these books. So this, that, and these are the demonstrative adjectives. The other type of adjective is comparative. When we are comparing an attribute of one object or a noun, we can alter adjectives to indicate where the particular object falls in the spectrum. For example, the car is quick, the train is quicker, the plane is quickest. Each of these 3 words describes the noun. It tells you the car is quick, it tells you the plane is quickest. But they are comparative because they also tell you how the noun is in relation to other things. Adverbs. So if an adjective describes a noun, can anyone guess what an adverb describes? Do you know? Can anyone take a guess? If an adjective describes a noun, an adverb describes a... Go on.
That's verbs.
Sorry?
It describes verbs.
Verbs, absolutely. And Tabitha's written in the chat, verb. Yeah, Spencer says verbs. Well done, yeah. An adverb describes a verb. Pretty simple, that one. So it's a describing word for an action. A verb is an action. So here we are describing an action. It tells you how that action is being performed. The general rule for these, and an easy way to spot them, is they often end in ly. They nearly always. There are exceptions, but they almost always end in ly. So slowly, happily, quickly, etc. If we were to put those into sentences and show you how they describe the verb, they could say the car drove past the house slowly. The dog barked happily, and you need to run quickly. So the slowly, happily, and quickly are the adverbs there, and they describe how the verb is taking place.
Yeah, the clue's in the actual word, actually. Adverb.
Adverb. Yeah. It's just that adjective doesn't say noun in it. It's really complicated. So yeah, you're just going to have to remember that adjective is about the noun and adverb says it. It's included in the name, isn't it? Yeah, well done, Rodri. So this is difficult, okay? This is a poll. We are going to have a go at this. We are going to have a go at finding one of these. So find the proper noun in this. Vera, the evil witch, cackled ominously. So which one of these is the proper noun? Remember, proper noun. So is it A, Vera, B, evil, C, witch, or D, cackled? Which of those is the proper noun? All 2 of you have answered. This one is tricky. These are tricky. Like Rodri said, it's so easy to forget these. We just keep going over it. It's the only way to really remember those. Just keep going over them. Yeah. You will have absolutely done these in school, possibly even primary school, but they just fall out your head when you're not using them anymore. I completely understand that. 6 of you have voted. Can anybody else have a go? We've got 2 more to go. Has anyone not had a go? Well done. Thank you. Let me share the results. And the answer there is Vera. It's a proper noun. It's got a capital letter. Vera is the name. Vera is the name of my dog, which is why I have a bulldog called Vera. So thanks very much. Let's move on to the next one. Find the verb. Which one of these is the verb? I've moved the words around on this, so make sure you check again. So A is Vera, B is witch, C is cackled, and D is ominously. I like that word. Which one of those is the verb? I'd love to remind you what the verb is, but that would be cheating. 5 of you, well done. 6 of you. 7 of you, well done. This is really tough, don't worry. Just a bit of fun. Test yourself, improve yourself, but this is difficult. Well done. No one went for A because we know that one now. We know A. The verb. So 5 of you said it was C, and you are right. Cackled is the verb. It is the action. It is the doing word. The witch cackled. That is what she did. That is the action in this sentence. Well done. The next one. Let me relaunch the poll. I've changed the words around again. Make sure you look at them. So find the adverb. Do you remember what adverb is? Is it A, Vera, B, evil, C, cackled, or D, ominously? Vera, evil, cackled, or ominously? Which one is the adverb? 4 of you have voted. 5 of you, well done. 6 of you. You're all remembering what an adverb is very well. We've just done that one. And the clue is in the name. 7 of you, well done. There's that last one. Can we get all 8 of you? Well done, 7 of you. Let me share the results with you. Every single one of you said D. Absolutely. Ends in ly. It describes the verb. She cackled, which is the verb, and she did it ominously. That is the adverb.
I think that's why, because you said verb originally, didn't you? And I think that's why everyone put ominously, because it's a type of verb, but it's an adverb.
Yeah.
No, it's an addition, but it's not a verb actually. It's an addition to a verb, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you remember we said you've got to find the one that suits it the most? Yeah. Don't worry. No, anyone that got it wrong, completely see why you did. No, this is difficult. This is why we're doing this. It's why we test you with instant feedback and instant results so that you can improve and learn what happened and what went wrong. Did I share those results with you? Sorry. Let me relaunch the poll and we'll go again. Find the adjective this time. So if the adverb describes the verb, what's the adjective? Is it A, Vera, B, evil, C, witch, or D, ominously? I like this sentence, by the way. This gives good imagery. 3 of you have voted. 5 of you, well done. 6, 7. Can we get that last 8? No, okay, 7 of you have voted. Let me end the poll and share it with you. 6 of you said B. 6 of you said B was the adjective. Absolutely right. Yes, that describes the witch. She is evil. That is the description word. It describes the noun, which was the witch. Well done. You all did so well on that one. Well done. That's difficult. That is a lot of information to process really quickly. Common noun. Which one's the common noun? Oh, I forgot I had another one. Let me put the poll back up. Common noun. Do we know the common noun? A, Vera. B, witch. C, cackled. D, ominously. Which one of those is the common noun? We did this one right at the beginning, so maybe this one's falling out because you're thinking about your adverbs so well. 6 of you. Anybody else? Anybody else want to have a vote? The 6 of you have voted. You're all doing really well on this one. I thought this one would be tricky. You're all doing very, very well. So 6 of you have voted. I'll share that one with you now. So 5 out of 6 of you said B is the common noun. You're right, yeah, because a witch is a noun. A witch is a thing, and you can see it, you can touch it. It's a concrete noun, but it's a common noun because concrete and abstract come under common. So well done. You all did really well on that one. Yes, I finished that one now. Some words can be either a noun or a verb, just to confuse you, depending on the context of the sentence. So, for example, run is a verb we've used as an example previously. It is an action, you are doing it, so it is a verb. But what about in this sentence? What about if you went for a run? That now it is a thing. It is a run. It is a thing. Now it is a noun. As well as it can be a verb. It's in this sentence, I went for a run. It is a noun. The same can be said for email. An email is a thing. It's a noun. You have a email. But what if you email somebody? That is an action, and then it becomes a verb. So depending on the context of the sentence, an email can be both a noun and a verb. Not at the same time, but the word email can be a noun or a verb. So what about these two? A, Paul likes to joke with his friends, and B, Paul told a joke to his friends. Let me find my poll again. Which one of these says a noun? Which one of these uses joke as a noun? Is it Paul likes to joke with his friends, or Paul told a joke to his friends? Which one of those uses joke as a noun? This is really, really tricky. Well done, everybody, for giving it a go. Oh, well done. 6 votes. That's brilliant. 7 votes. I can't see who voted for what. I can just see the number of votes that come in. That's fantastic. So 7 of 8 of you. Let me share the results. That one's really evenly split. So Paul likes to joke with his friends. He is doing that. He is joking. That is an action. So that's a verb. B, Paul told a joke to his friends. That's a thing. That joke is a singular thing. So that B is the one that is the noun. Well done to everybody that said B. Well done to everybody that gave it a go. What about this one? Which one of these is the verb? Is it Jenny smiled when she saw the dog, or Jenny had a smile on her face when she saw the dog? Which is the verb? Jenny smiled when she saw the dog, or Jenny had a smile on her face when she saw the dog. We all smile when we see dogs, don't we? 3 of you, well done. 4 of you, 5 of you.
Sorry, what's this one? I got disconnected.
Did you, Mark? Oh, I'm so sorry. Can you see the poll?
You did freeze for a second.
I did. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, well, but you froze, but then it went back to normal again. Mine was okay.
Okay, well, 6 of you have voted, so we'll leave it up for now. But the question is, which one of these has smile or smiled as the verb? Is it Jenny smiled when she saw the dog, or Jenny had a smile on her face when she saw the dog? Which one shows smile as a verb? Sorry about the technical issue. A, Mark, well done. Thank you for voting. Sorry if you can't see the poll because you just joined back in. Sorry. I will share the results with you. That was completely evenly split. Well done. So the verb is an action. Jenny smiled. She is doing it. It is an action. That one is the verb. Jenny had a smile. So my smile is a noun. It's a thing, but I am smiling, which is an action. That is a verb. Really, really tricky, this. Well done, everybody, for giving that a go. It is really tricky. So we're leaving nouns and verbs and adjectives behind now. We're moving on. We're moving on to tenses. Tenses are important. You will need to be aware of these and be able to identify and use them in your GCSE and in any writing you do. And as I say, every lesson, this is where audience and purpose comes in. So there are 3 main tenses. Does anyone know what the 3 main tenses are? Can anyone give me the 3 main tenses? I'm not talking about being tense. That's a completely different kind of tense. Does anyone know the names of the tenses or any of them? Past, present, future, Daniel, well done. Yes, past, present, future, Tabitha, excellent, top of the class. Well done. Yes, they are past, present and future. So for example, walk, the past tense of walk would be I walked. You could also say I have walked, or he walked, or you walked. Any of those types of sentence, you can say whatever you like before the walked or after it, but the verb walk becomes walked. This is why when children make something a past tense, they just say drinked or eated. They just add the ed onto it. But yet walk becomes walked in the past tense. That's how you spot past tense, and you will need to spot it in the articles you read in your exam. You will need to be able to spot the tense in whatever you're reading. So for example, fiction is almost always written in past tense. Harry walked into the room, etc. It would feel really odd to read a book written in present tense. For example, Harry walks into the room and speaks to Ron. Like, that's not how we read, is it? So you also need to be aware of tenses when you do your writing exercises. What tense fits the writing that you are doing? Sempsey, English has a lot of tenses. You are right. I can only apologise. Yeah, it really does. And we're going to get on to some of those. We are. I'm sorry. So the present tense of walk is I am walking. So the present tense of walk is obviously walk. It remains the same. I walk, you walk, we walk, he walks. This is in real time. You can hear it in the sentence that the action is currently taking place. I walk, I am walking. It's currently taking place. It's present tense. It's in the present. It's very usual to speak in the present tense, but you don't really see it written down quite so much. Yeah, Robin, absolutely difficult language. You don't really see it written down much. You wouldn't really see I walk or I am walking anywhere. You might see it in a biography piece if it's written in real time, when someone's trying to make you feel as if you're there with them. If any of you read thrillers or crime fiction, sometimes it will have like a short chapter where it's written like in the view of somebody that is like being kidnapped, or someone that's running through the woods, and for that short bit it might say I run really fast and I see him behind me, things like that. But you would never read a whole book written in present tense. It would be really odd. Rodri, a lot of people do it naturally without remembering these things. This is the benefit we have of being native English speakers. Yeah, we do this naturally without thinking about it. Sempsey, I can only apologise. Yeah, we are. We're lucky. I'm sorry. But maybe it's easier for maybe you have a slight advantage being a second language learner because you're having to actually learn these. We're lazy. If we're getting it wrong, we're getting it wrong. You know, you see quite a lot of native English speakers saying things in the wrong tense because we're lazy. We forget it. The future is going for a walk, Tabitha, top of my class. Well done. You are well ahead of me. Yes, the future of walk is still walk, but now you would add a word. I will walk. I am going to walk. We will walk. It shows that you have the intention to do it, but it's also in the future. Yeah, going for a walk is in the future. You might see future tense appearing in speeches. They talk a lot of action that they will take, or the consequences that might occur if action isn't taken. So global climate change will get worse and we are going to tackle it. That's in the future tense. You wouldn't really see a book or an article or anything written in the future tense. So to confuse issues more, sorry, Sempsey, there are actually further tenses within these main three. These are perfect tense, pluperfect, don't know how you say that one, future simple, conditional tense, future progressive, and past future tense. These are all covered in detail in your Cloudport information. I've made the decision not to go over them more here because, to be quite honest, they are very difficult to learn and they aren't needed for your exam as such. You will never be tested on these. It's useful to know. It might be helpful for you to read over and do some further work on your own if you realise that you're using these wrong. But quite honestly, you're not going to be asked about these in an exam. And I don't want to spend our limited time here going over them when I think that would be better spent ensuring that you have the basics down before moving on to something.
Would you learn these in a degree in English?
I've got an English master's and I don't ever get asked about these, Rodri.
You wouldn't?
You might do. You might do if you specialise in English language, but most people at university would do something like English literature or English studies, which I'm doing. And at that point, no.
I didn't know if they made it more detailed in a degree, like you had to know.
But you have to use them correctly. And if you ever use these wrong in an exam, you will be marked down. Sorry, we don't really do exams in English. It's more coursework. So yeah, if you're using them incorrectly, you will be marked down, but you will never ever sit in an exam where it says, what tense is this? You might do if you speak English as a foreign language. Maybe the foreign language learners can say, I did that. I teach ESL, I teach English as a second language, and we absolutely do use these for those.
It could be probably harder for them.
Maybe, yeah. But yeah, if you want to read through your information on the Cloudport, I would suggest that you do. And if when you're reading it through, you go, I'm using it like this anyway, I've always used it like this, then great. I won't confuse you with the issue here. The tenses that you see on the screen here aren't covered in detail in schools either. So please go ahead and do the reading on them and study further if you wish. But for now, I just want to ensure that you know the past, present and future inside out, and we'll leave it at that because you will need those in an exam. You will need those three. So let's look at 3 different types of writing format and which tense you think each of these would most likely have and which tense you'd use if you were asked to write one of these. I don't know how far you've all got in your course yet, but whether you've looked at past papers or not, but when you sit your exam, you will be asked at the end to do your own piece of writing. And it will usually give you 2 options. It will say, write a speech about this, or write a newspaper article about this, or write a biography about this, or write about a time in your life. You'll be asked to write a piece of writing, and that's when you need to know the layout of each piece of writing and what sort of tense you would be writing in. So let's take a look at this. A news story. If you were going to write a news story, not an article, but a story, a news story, something about something that's happened, say a headline piece, what tense would we write that in? Does anybody know what tense you would write that in? If you were asked to write that, what tense would you use? Past, Rodri says. Yeah? Does anyone else agree with past? Has anyone got any different? Tabitha says past. Yeah, was that you, John? You said past as well, yeah?
Yeah, past, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is a story that has happened, you know. Yeah. A volcano has erupted, a plane has crashed, something has happened, you know. Formal, essentially, yeah, absolutely formal. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, generally we're talking about the past tense because an event has occurred, we are talking about it. So it has to have happened. You could maybe get a news article that's going to be about something that will happen. The World Cup, for instance, there's a lot of articles about something that will happen. But generally 99% of articles in the newspaper have happened. Yeah, well done. Next one, autobiography. What tense would we have an autobiography written in, do you think? Past, Rodri, yeah. Anyone agree? Anyone disagree with past? Past, Tabitha, past, Mark? Yeah, past, yeah, it's happened. I did this. I went to this school. I got this job. Yeah, if you're reading someone's autobiography, they've generally done everything and they're telling us what they've done. So yeah, it has to be in past. You might, like I said before with the books, fiction, sometimes you might get a passage where it says something in real time, you know, something really key, something really interesting. It might be like, I walk down the corridor, my mother comes out. It might have a little section that's in present tense. None of it can be future tense, but yeah, generally most of it is in past tense. What about a product review? Just to throw something different in there. What about a product review? Something that we would see online when you're searching for how good an iron works or whether a car's worth buying. Present, Tabitha? Yeah, anyone else agree with Tabitha? Disagree? Present, Mark? Sounds like we're doing a very formal register. Present, Roger? Or future? Yeah, or future.
Yeah, let's go present.
Present, John. Yeah. So generally, it will say this car works like this iron works like this. You plug it in here. So you plug it in, you do this, you know, yes, it's present tense. Sometimes it might say, I bought this and it worked like that. Sometimes it might be past.
Yeah, it could be future because, for example, if it's advertising something that hasn't come out, that's why it could be future.
But that's not a review. A review is always of something that you've had. You have the product with you. Well,
you may have a review from someone that has had it, but they haven't brought it out yet. And it was just like a tester.
Yeah, so if they're saying like, when you get this, you will have to do this. Yeah, but generally they'll say about what their experience was. So yeah, you're right. Yeah, it could be future if you're going to talk that context. But generally these tend to be the present. Well done, everyone said present. Dempsey said posh words. Yes, I like that. Posh words, formal language. Yeah. Yeah, you would definitely find that. Well done. Thank you very much. So yeah, bear these things in mind when you are doing your exam. You will be asked to do your own piece of writing. You need to make sure it's in the right tense. You're using the right language. We're going to look further now at 3 further forms of grammar. The first of these is prepositions. A preposition expresses the relationship between a noun or a pronoun and the other elements of the sentence. In other words, the relationship between the subject and the object of a sentence. For example, the woman is in the shower. The preposition here is in because it shows that the subject, the woman, is in relation to the object, the shower. She is in the shower. Also, the dog is near the tree. The preposition here is near. The dog, the subject, is near the tree, the object. The preposition is near. Conjunctions. Conjunctions are similar to prepositions in that they join different parts of a sentence together. They are connecting words. They can join 2 parts of a sentence together, or they can join 2 clauses together. For example, the sentences, I like horror movies and I like thriller movies, can be joined together to read, I like horror and thriller movies, using the conjunction and. We touched on this a little bit last week when we did commas. So a clause is something that can sit together on its own as a sentence. I like horror movies. I like thriller movies. They are 2 complete sentences, but you can join them together with a conjunction. You would have to use a conjunction or a comma. Conjunctions are easy to remember, Roger. Yeah, they're the joining words, aren't they? They're the and, but, also, however. Yeah, the words like that. They are easy to remember. I like conjunctions. And lastly, thirdly, we have interjections. These ones are easy to remember too. I like these. These are words that are used to express strong emotion or feelings such as disgust, joy, shock, enthusiasm, or excitement. For example, hey, how are you? Or ow, that hurt. So the interjection is the hey and the ow. They're followed by an exclamation mark to show the strong emotion and feeling. And it's an interjection because you kind of shout it out, don't you? Hey, how are you? And ow, that hurt. You know, it shows shock or excitement or surprise. You probably don't really have that much control over your interjections. And quite often there'll be interruptions as well. So yeah, interjections hopefully is easy to remember because of that. Conjunctions because they join it together, they're like a junction. And prepositions, well, that one's just difficult, sorry. So what have we learned in this lesson? We have learned that a noun is a word that refers to a person, place, or thing. That there are 5 types of nouns. A verb is a word that describes an action, state, or occurrence. Verbs may alter in different situations, and this is called conjugation. Adjectives describe nouns. Adverbs describe verbs. And that there are 3 main types of tense and how to find information about the other types. What prepositions, conjunctions, and interjections are. Thank you very much for coming to another lesson. Thank you all so much for joining in. Well done. That was a really tricky one. I didn't expect everyone to get the grasp of nouns and verbs as quickly as they did. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it helped. You all did really well. Thank you so much. It's really nice to see the familiar faces and hear you all chatting with me and in the chat box.